Okay, check it out, check it out, check it out. This is Soul Sundays episode, 15. But it's a special because it's going to be the Pussy Clan that's taking over. So today we have Mallory. Everybody remembers Mallory, who came on for the sex episode.
And I'm back. I'm honestly surprised you guys brought me back.
It's actually one of our best episodes.
Shocker.
Hey.
And then we also have Cassie, who's been giving her 2 cents all season and is finally on it.
Hey, hey, hey.
And then you have yours truly, Sumie. So we're going to cover a couple things this podcast, but some of the specials that we're going to go over are topics from throughout the season that the guys discuss. And then we're also going to talk about a little party that we had on Tuesday.
A true fiesta.
So you guys will kind of get a good glimpse of that. So,
but first, tell me about your weekend, Sue.
Oh yeah, weekend updates. Okay. So Friday, what do we do? Oh, we watched a bunch of unsolved crime shows
Some
and
fucked up shit.
murder mysteries.
Yes.
How come I wasn't invited?
Because it was just me, Driss, and Sumie.
Bitch,
and
we
our
did invite you. You said you were in Westerville.
Our three's company. Because I'm actually a love child of Driss and Sumie.
Can I be the stepchild?
The redheaded stepchild.
I'm redheaded.
Oh, shit. Oh, but no, that was Friday. And then yesterday, one of my friends got engaged. Who's not getting married for another 2 years, but she got engaged.
Congratulations.
So we went to her engagement party. So that was kind of it. But what about you guys? What'd you guys do?
I'm going to tell you right now, I did jack shit. And it was honestly the best weekend I've had.
Those are the
all
best
year.
weekends, staying in.
All year. I slept. I didn't change out of my pajamas for 2 days. I did laundry. It was really great.
Such an adult move.
I know. I always, when I was like 21, I was like, I'll never be that person. And I hope I never become that person that wants to do nothing. And then the thought of plans this weekend made me want to cry. And so I realized.
We did do an episode, though, called Growing Pains, which was stuff that you do grow out of. And that was one of them, is
apparently
having to
I've
go
grown out of going out.
Yeah.
At 25.
I'm getting there. Every time I go out now, I just drink a glass of wine.
It's hard.
I drink wine every day, so it's hard.
I know.
Well, and hangovers are so much worse than what they were.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, remember you could come home drinking after 3 and then start drinking again at 7 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Like have your Baileys in hand.
Now I drink like 2 bottles of beer or 2 beers.
2 bottles.
2 bottles of beer on the wall.
I can have 2 beers, have the worst hangover, and then until like 7 p.m. and then I'll start feeling better.
That's how it is. Well, what'd you do, Mallory, this weekend?
You know, my weekend was pretty boring. What did I do? I went Christmas shopping, so I have no idea what to get my mom or sister or dad for Christmas. So if anybody
good. We're in the same boat.
That's how I am.
So if any listeners have any ideas, please email us.
For real.
Make a comment on anything.
Christmas shopping is such a bitch.
Christmas
Give
gifts
us ideas.
2017. Let us know.
Yes,
Open for suggestions.
Seriously. But I actually stayed in. I wanted to get a little bit of action last night, but it just didn't add up. I wanted to test my new products, but you know what?
Which
honestly,
is a perfect segue into our topic of pure romance.
So Tuesday, Cassie and I, well, technically Cassie was the main host, but Cassie and I at our place hosted a pure romance party. We had several of our friends attend. Mallory was definitely one of them.
My mom was also there. Just side note.
Cassie's mom was there.
She fucking loved it.
And can I just say, I haven't seen Cassie's mom since I think I was like 10 or 12.
She still called you Lulu.
She did. And you know what? Seeing your mom at the pure romance party made me feel just like a bad child.
She did claim, though, your dad is a little too vanilla for
my poor mom was like, I don't think I'm going to buy any of this. Your dad's pretty vanilla. I was like, okay, not what I wanted to hear.
Oh my God.
And Alpha, when you listen to this, don't get any fucking ideas.
Alpha has this weird sexual obsession with Cassie's mom, which he claims Cassie is his love child. So
Stupid. You are not my stepfather.
But so we wanted to kind of talk about some of the. Well, let me first ask you guys this. What did you think of, we're not going to say her name, but what did you guys think of the lady? Like, do you think she had the personality, the way she set it up?
I honestly think she She did a phenomenal job, but it's just weird because I feel like I've seen her somewhere. So I couldn't get that out of my head.
Like she's a familiar face.
We're probably going to like run into her at Kroger sometime and just be like, hey, you sold me dildos.
Yeah. Well, probably, I mean, we have
ice cream.
We do have 2 more parties with her.
So true. Yeah.
Yes.
So I host the first one and then Sumie signs up for one and then Mallory signs up for one. And I'm pretty sure Christina also signed up for one.
Girl, I need that 30% discount on these dildos.
It's a good discount. Yeah. If anything, we are promoting the discount for the hosts are really good.
For real. If you want the hookup price, you got to hit up Pure Romance, host a party, because I got some shit.
Some good
and we'll
shit.
give our contact's name out. But
no, she had some pretty good products. I mean, one thing, the way I look at it is if I was single versus in a relationship, what are some of the stuff that I would need? You know, like pheromone. She had like pheromone products, like perfumes and scents. Like
that shit smelled good too.
It did. I did buy it.
Well, and ironically, it smells different on everybody. Have you tried it?
I did. You know, so it was funny because she was trying to sell it, and I told her specifically I wanted to do a test on it because when I was in college, I'd been at a Pure Romance party and I bought it, and I just wanted to see if it was different from college because in college it was probably like an ounce, so it wasn't that much, so I couldn't really like test it. And I really want to put it to the test just to see if anything happens. Because Cassie, I know you said you had some, right?
Yeah, I had some from the last one I went to.
Yeah, and I just wanted to test it, so I wore some.
How long
to
does
work.
it last? Aren't you supposed to use a pinch? Is that it?
I mean, you could just roll it. I used to roll it like a little behind my ears, a little on my wrists, and then it would just like last all night. But I mean, I still wore perfume also, so it's sort of just like a boost, I guess.
Okay.
And I've worn it to work. But she did say that you could maybe get horny at work from it, and I was kind of fearing that because, you know, being horny at work just is not okay.
That's
What
not
the
okay.
fuck?
Wait,
oh
no,
my god,
but
can you
isn't it-
imagine me being horny at work?
Cassie works with children.
I'm a
That's
teacher.
not okay.
That is not,
not
that's
okay.
bad.
Well, but see, I wonder too because it did, and it's so funny because it smelled different on all our wrists. So she gave us basically, she put up, you know, your right wrist was for smelling and your left one was
Lickety
for
left.
lickety left. That's what she called it. So it was kind of interesting. But my favorites personally, just because I'm in a relationship, were more of the creams and the like
the
lotions
lubes and stuff?
Yeah, the lubes,
Yeah.
which actually it is very, very, very healthy to use lube. What she said.
Who would have thought?
Like, actually, we're doing so much damage to ourselves without using it. And like, I don't want
You
to
could be a squirter.
I don't want to be 70 years old and my vagina be like out of commission.
Ladies,
Right.
use lube.
Lube.
Not spit.
Lube.
Not spit.
No.
Lube.
Mostly thing that I've learned from that Pure Romance is even if you can get really wet, you still need lube.
See, and that's
need
like,
lube.
I feel like that was, everybody was like, oh, well, I don't need it because I'm doing just fine on my own, which is great. But like, I don't want to be damaged.
Yeah.
No, you definitely.
I don't want to be ripped apart.
Yeah, and you don't want those yeast
tearing your
infections.
walls, your vagina
Yeah,
walls.
That's a lot of science. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah,
No, we
but they
don't
don't
need
teach
to.
you that in sex ed, that's for sure.
Well, because they're not really promoting the use of lube.
Abstinent.
Well, they should.
I mean, they really should if you're thinking about
I
it.
think everyone needs to practice safe sex. I mean, not practice, but I think you should be preached safe sex. Because
Exactly.
think about it. When you tell someone not to do something, what are they going to do? Especially when you're a crazy, hormonal, horny teenager. You're going to fucking have sex. So educate your
That's
children.
true.
I think you should educate them. Maybe not go as far as the lube because
Or
hopefully
maybe
they're
they
using
should use
condoms.
the reverse psychology and be like, don't use condoms, don't use lube.
You
It's
should
all
get
bad.
pregnant.
Oh, there we
And then
go.
they'll be like, well, fuck that. We're going to do it.
We need to find kids to test this on because
No, Mallory.
Mallory,
it's just the food for thought.
Well,
she
eat
might
that
have
up
a
and
couple of
digest
those
it.
where we just turn her down right away. So
No, Mallory. That might be a common
that might be a
phrase.
soundboard that Bashir needs to get. No, Mallory.
I mean, you know, I hear that all the time. It's kind of annoying.
But no, she demonstrated. So then we went into the so we out of the lubricants and all that, and then we went into the toys. That shit was expensive.
Oh my God. Some of
Holy-
those shits were like $200.
And you know
Oh my
what?
God.
I went home and I Googled Amazon dildos and stuff, and you can get some.
Oh, they upcharge
I'm
that shit
telling
like
you,
crazy.
unless like you got a good deal, so you got a toy, right?
I did.
Yeah, that was Cassie.
Did she just give it for free, or how did that
So
work?
basically, like just based on what everybody else bought, it was like an amount of discount that I got free, but then I also got 40% off of everything. So I don't even really know. I ended up spending like $90, but I got like almost $200 worth of stuff.
Wow.
So,
That's nice.
which honestly isn't hard to do because the stuff is kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Even
But-
those little bottles are
I know.
so
well, and
expensive.
like the catalog, it makes it look like it's full size, and then they give it to
Yeah.
you, and it's like the size of your
Yeah.
palm, and I'm like, well, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Like I spent, I want to say maybe between like 140 and 160 on the perfume, on the pheromones. Excuse me, I just burped a little bit on the lube
Cassie McQueen over here.
and the what was the one that's called like the O?
Yeah, I got that too.
It was like the sensation.
It's like
Yeah,
the
that's
enhancement shit.
Yes. So I got that, and it was $100 and something. And
I know.
Like,
It's pretty pricey.
You gotta use it sparingly. To
Well,
make
I think that's the whole idea. Like, you're not going to be using all this shit all day, every day.
Mallory,
hopefully.
don't wear it to work.
oh God, no.
Save it for the bedroom.
So when I was talking to her, I was up there. I think this was after you left.
Oh yeah, Mallory asked me to come up. By the way,
I did because I can get talked into a lot of things sometimes, and then if I really don't want it, I can kind of be really push offish and be like, no, I don't want it. So it's kind of like an easy way. But then Sumie did leave before I like got into more of the serious products. But I told her, because I was like, you know what, I'm not in a relationship right now, but I do have someone that I do hook up with, but I was like, I don't want to wear this to the bar. Like, I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah, because don't you put it inside your vag, right?
Yeah,
you
and the
stick
lube.
it in there.
Well, the lube, because it's water based. It like we tested it, like it can activate again.
Oh yeah, like if you lick it.
Yeah. But with the sensation thing, I'm not gonna wear that out at the bar and just.
What if you don't get any?
Well, she goes.
Well, at least it'll be fun for you.
Well,
I guess that's where the toys come in.
True.
But it could be midnight at the bar, and I'd be like horny. I'd be like, "Oh my god, guys, I gotta go!" But she told me put it in a bag with like a pea-sized drop and like stick it in your purse. What if that falls out?
Do you think it's more of like a placebo for you to gain confidence? Because when
I
you're
think
like
so,
drunk
too.
and horny, you're like, listen, I could get that guy, and this one.
Well, I
to
didn't
come
go
home
out
with
this
me.
weekend, and I didn't. No, not really. No, because I mean, what? I have lube inside of me. Oh. Let's go use it.
But you're aroused. That's the point
But
of
I
it.
didn't put it. The lube doesn't arouse you though. But she told me to put the sensation cream in my purse. So I'm not wearing that out because that would just be.
Oh, but then that way you have it depending on where you end up.
Yes. So that if
okay.
I do, or if he comes home with me, or if I go home with him, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay, but that's another question I have for both of you. Is like when you're using these things, like Sumie, obviously it's probably a little different because you have long-term
Whip out my
boyfriend.
tarp with all
No,
my shit.
but like
pick one.
do you just say like, hey, I'm gonna be right back, I gotta go do something, or do you just openly say like, hey, I got some shit, we're about to whip it out and use it?
Okay,
Let's play a game.
let me ask you though. Oh God.
Okay, no, that's
Jigsaw
not gonna
points
work.
But let me. Okay, it's been a while since I've had my one night stands, which were in college, and I feel like those are very different than like an adult one night stand because those
I
you're just
know.
like home.
It really is.
You're just there. You take off everything. You go for it. I've never been romance.
I don't even
in a
remember
one-night stand.
shit from
Right,
college.
but I wonder when you're an adult, do you do one of those things where you slip into the bathroom? Because you see that shit in the movies. Like
Yeah.
somebody goes to the bathroom, changes, gets a little comfortable. I wonder if that's the shit that
Well,
happens.
I also feel like some of that shit is like flavored, and I'm gonna be honest, like most of the guys that any of us would be hooking up with at this age know that pussy doesn't taste like licorice,
right.
right.
regularly.
But guys, they're kind of sometimes not. I feel like they're just in the moment of
True.
sex.
Well, but I also think that it's not meant to have a flavor that you're going to indulge
just
in.
gonna
It's
let
just
them-
something better than.
and they're gonna
what's
remember
down there.
you.
Yeah, it's not just
And
your
they're-
everyday.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to remember you and be like, wow, her vagina tasted
I wonder
like
if you
candy.
squirt with that shit. Do you just put like basically licorice all over the damn bed?
Oh my god, that's an excellent
It's like
question.
a flavored
know.
sprinkler.
I don't know.
We should try it.
We'll have to come back and see if
Well,
anybody
you
has
have
that
that shit,
experience.
Mallory.
I do have that
Do
shit.
some
I
homework.
got the licorice shit.
Well, yeah, I did too. I got that, and the other one is cherry. So I asked her, I was like, "Is that combination going to be weird?" She's like, "Well, no, it's just." Gonna, I'm like,
I mean, I don't even think either of them taste like the actual thing. It's more just like a sweet.
"Oh my god, we should have brought them and tasted them."
I know. I was going to bring the catalog. You know what, though? I think next week when the guys come, when they're here,
When they
we'll bring
come.
the catalog when they come.
Oh, and see which
Pun
ones that
intended.
they-
Well, Driss
Ooh.
kind of, I'm not going to lie. I think some of those toys are a bit, I can't ever say this word, intimidating. I
I
can't
thought
say
you were
it.
going to say some fucking
I did
collegiate word.
I can't say it, but I think when they look through the magazine, like they were shocked. And some of the
Yeah.
toys, I mean, they looked so daunting.
Well, even
since I
when she
can't say
passed
it.
around some of those vibrators that were like all like it had every part of your
Oh
shit
my
covered.
God.
I was intimidated. Like I was, and she's like, "Yeah, there's 10 speeds. Like who the fuck is on level 10? I
I'm
need to know."
telling you, those things moved faster than a hummingbird.
No shit, it was crazy.
Which one was the jackhammer that she mentioned?
She was like, "Yeah, if you need a jackhammer on your clit, this is what you need." And everybody was kind of like, that's not really what I'm picturing."
Oh my God. Well, speaking of toys, what was okay? A couple tips. So, water-based lubes are the best, and they're better for you.
Yes.
So always go with water-based. She said, read the labels.
They
And
also also reactivate when you get wetter or you lick them. So you can use them long term.
Moisten back up. And then anything with a cord does not go inside of you.
True. Anything with a cord attached is outside only. So like you're only using it on your clit. Don't go up inside. You're going to be that should electrocute you.
I don't know. Short circuit in your back.
Oh my God.
Oh, that would
God, you'd fry the shit out of your
Oh my God.
But like my thing too is it's so crazy to me because I don't really get pleasure other than, a dick going inside you. I don't think like putting an actual dildo in. It's all about the clit. That's what I say.
100% with you.
It's all about the clit. I mean, that's what sets you
the
off.
combination is what really is great, but like you can very much tell the difference between a rubber dildo and a penis.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
So I don't know about that.
I don't even know if I want to waste. Well, I did not get a toy.
I did, but I only got like the little clit one.
Oh, the one that had like the prongs.
Yeah, it has like the little bunny looking ears on the outside, but it doesn't go inside at all.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think that one would be the best.
It's a winner, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, because the guy can like still do stuff with it too.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the best.
Those are the fun toys. I did the it's called the hand jive, which was like the 2-sided. It's basically a pocket puss.
It looks like one of those like dollar store toys that you get that have like the floaty gel inside.
Yes.
And the kids like squeeze the shit out of them, and you're like afraid it's gonna bust. But that's what it looks like.
That's it.
Mine busted as a kid once.
I know.
I believe that.
Shit went everywhere.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I also tried the butter rum sensation.
Oh,
the
yeah.
one where so this is a shit that she had us put on our forearm, rub it, and then blow on it, and it heats up, and that shit works amazingly when you put it in the right spot.
Definitely get it, and you can definitely also put it on your man's.
Yeah, you can use it. It's for oral, so because it's all flavors. They had like a butter rum, cotton candy,
and it definitely helps if they definitely don't shower or they've been sweating, and then you've like.
You know what? This brings up an interesting point that we talked about at the PR Romance party. I think is that like we're always so afraid of like what's going on down there. Like smells, taste,
because it's all inside.
Yeah,
okay, but here's the thing: is like we're not going for like any type of that if we haven't recently showered or we know we're pretty fresh. But like dudes can come home from the gym and be like, "Hey, you want to suck my dick?" And it's like you realize that your balls smell disgusting, right?
It smells like sweat.
It smells like sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls.
I think that's what our lady said. She's like, "There's only one flavor of penis, and it's literally sweaty balls."
Yeah, that actually happened to me. Well, I'm just gonna say it now. It was Thanksgiving. It happened.
Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving. Are you thankful for sweaty balls?
No, because like tried, I think I wanted to gag, but I couldn't give him the pleasure of him making me gag because it like, like
gagging on his balls?
Yeah. But it was just, you know what I mean?
Clarifying.
Just clarification on the
gag balls. I didn't know how to put it
out
out there, but it was just not pleasing. And I really do like going down on guys. I just think it's rewarding to see their reaction and everything. But I couldn't even give that because I was like, how do I keep myself alive while holding my breath?
Vomiting.
It was it was so bad.
I just think it's a common courtesy. Like
I do too.
Make sure your shit's at least semi-fresh.
Yeah. I do think though, guys, I'm not saying that they're not hygienic about it, but I think they are less. I don't give a fuck. And they're so much more judgmental on vages. I'm sorry.
Well, I think for them, it comes down to like, am I going to get my dick sucked or am I going to be worried about how my shit smells? Right. I mean, every time they're picking get their dick sucked. Whereas like we would give it up and be like, you know what?
Summer's
you don't have to go down on me.
For. That's where all that shit
but
is.
You know
for.
what? I think if a girl goes down on a guy, then a guy sometimes, depending how often you've hooked up, should reciprocate.
Oh, I think so too. I think it's a mutual respect.
Which actually, that kind of, it doesn't exactly segue, but one of the things, just speaking of hooking up with guys and everything. So one of the topics that we covered this year were relationships and labels. So for instance, when is it appropriate the guys basically were mentioning it is game over when you classify somebody as your girlfriend, but some guys aren't sure when to do that or how long it's been, or do you ask that question, which that was one of the things. So labeling meaning, being in a relationship full on, getting to the point of when you think about life's next step, so engaged or not, and then being exclusive, being strictly dickly, so hookup buddies.
Strictly dickly.
Those were some of the things. And, also just in general, how you react to some of your hookup buddies, like what is a way. Actually, that might be better for the stereotype and double standards topic. But so that was one thing I wanted to ask you guys on. Is relationships, what do you think what stage of a relationship do you think is the hardest and is the most uncomfortable to talk about?
I would say the beginning. Because honestly, like nowadays, I feel like guys, when you get picked up in a bar, they'll attempt to hit on you, or the girls will attempt to hit on them. And then you'll exchange numbers, you'll talk, you'll either go home with them, hook up right away, or you'll take a couple weeks, couple months, and then go from there. And then once everything starts getting serious, and if you keep hooking up, do you establish it? Or does he say, I don't want a relationship, but he still keeps proceeding to do like a relationship type thing, like go out to dinner, go hang out with you, introduce you to his friends. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, the girl could sometimes be falling for them. And then you're just like, if I bring it up, he's going to get scared. And then
because they just think you're psycho. They just think you're psycho.
Yeah.
And you brought up a good point. Cassie had a good conversation with the guys. It was months ago about how guys think that girls are so relationship crazy and need to be in one and need to be, you know, attached to somebody. And it's not the case. It comes down to personal timeline, which Cassie brought up.
Which is something that I think we're getting older now. So like, obviously when we're 19, 20, 21, we're not really thinking about it, and we shouldn't be, in my opinion. But like, we're getting older, like 25, 26, like we're getting old bitches. Okay. And like, I'm not saying that I want to be married tomorrow and start a family, but like, I also don't want to run the risk of having my first child at 40, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it comes with a lot, like it's a lot more unsafe for the baby. It can cause a lot of health problems for myself. Like, it just comes with a lot of anxiety, to be honest. Yeah. And like, I just don't want to have that risk. So am I in a rush to be in a relationship? Not really. But do I want to establish the family that I've always wanted? Yeah. Is it possible that maybe I'm not going to get to be married, or I'm not going to have children? I'm not saying that that's not the case, but that's not what I want. So I feel like if I'm talking to someone, or, you know, whatever the case may be, if there's an iffy situation, like, I'd rather be on the positive end of things, or just cut it, because it's like, well, I have to figure my shit out by a certain time. And like, they don't, because they don't necessarily have the same thought process or timeline, but like I do. So,
and going back on that, what did you say that irked this? You said like that we don't necessarily have to figure our stuff out, but like in the beginning, you know, some girls are on the side where they do want a relationship and they automatically assume, but then it comes to a point, like, does the guy, I'm not saying all guys, but some guys do think that there's always going to be something better. So then when we start hanging out with them and doing everything still, then we're like, okay, what is this? The guy freaks out, and it's just like,
it almost gets to a question of like, at what age do you stop looking for better?
But you know, that another reoccurring theme that was brought up throughout this entire season of the podcast was maturity. That comes down to maturity. You need to know what you want. I'm sorry, but I would hope before you're at the age of 23, 24, you've either slept with enough people where you feel like, you know what, I'm comfortable sexually. You've either tried to have a relationship, or you've had your heart broken, whatever it may be, but you've been through experiences where you're like, you know, I am ready to settle down. I've experienced it all, and it doesn't seem like I don't want that one night stand anymore. Now, and I'm not saying your mission now is to find that one person you're going to fall in love with, but you might be more selective in a, you know, partner. You might say, you know, at 26, you're still not doing something that can support a family in the next 5 years.
Yep.
5 years, that's a long time. I think that's a pretty decent timeline to think of myself like, all right, in 5 years, do I think that this person's going to... Now, I'm not making that judgment off the first date. I might make that after a couple months or a year of seeing somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I also think that, like, if you're not... Okay, so I'm 25, and I'm not going out every weekend trying to find my next, you know, whatever you want to call it, because who fucking knows.
But sexual rendezvous.
My pure romance partner. No, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not doing that, but I think it's because at this point, like, I know what I'm looking for. And it's not to say that, like, certain things can't change. Like, I'm not saying I have this cookie cutter version of a guy, and if I don't find every quality, he's not the one. But, like, I also know that if I bump into him at Brothers drinking a rum and Coke, like,
worst mistake I've ever made.
I just think that, like, he's not... I don't know, like, and you can't tell that automatically by meeting someone, and especially in a drunk bar situation. No. But that's also why I'm kind of like, well, I don't really feel like wasting my time. Like, why do I need to seed through 10,000 bad seeds to find the perfect one? Like, I don't
think you have to go through so much trial and error, but certain experiences in your life put you to the point where you're like, you know what? I'm ready.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I just think that if any girl, not just like based on this, because I'm the same way. Like, I mean, it's possible to find your next boyfriend, girlfriend at a bar, but from my experiences, don't find someone at a bar because I've had bad experiences with it. But if you're just wanting to hook up with someone, state it in the beginning.
Agreed.
Don't do it.
Set the guidelines, set the standards.
You
like
have
this
to do
is,
that.
Yeah. And I mean, and something even simple, like if you do have a hookup buddy, you know, and you guys have established like, who knows, something could come out of it, but let's just, you know, I'm not ready for anything serious or a relationship. Don't expect me to pick you up or something. But one thing that I think that I always say this in a one night stand, you shouldn't have expectations, but you should have standards. Meaning,
agree. That's a
you
good way to
should
put it.
still treat me right and respect me. I'm not saying you need to come up to me at a bar and say, hey, how are you? Because how do you also explain that relationship to everybody around you?
Right.
It's awkward. Can you smile at someone? Can you just wave? Can you even just walk by without acting like, oh my God, I don't know this person? Because 9 times out of 10, you can tell when people are trying to avoid each other.
Oh, for
and
sure.
that's when you know something's going on, whether it was a hookup or whatever it may be. But that's a maturity
Well,
thing.
I also think it comes down to just having respect for a human being.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
If I let you stick your penis inside of me, the least you could do is fucking be nice to me.
Right.
Like,
And
I'm not
acknowledge
saying you
me.
need to marry me. I'm not saying you need to, like, if you need to tell me, hey, we're strictly hooking up or I don't want any part of it, that's fine.
Right.
Right.
And I'm not
Right.
saying I'm going to smile at you and be like, yeah, that sounds great. Because if I'm not in a position to hear that, maybe not. But like, you don't get to be rude.
No.
Right.
And there are guys that go out of their way to be rude.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
they
I
do.
think-
And it's like, honestly, just because I'm saying hi to you when I see you out and you're with your friends, it doesn't mean I'm doing it in a way to like
See, and
do
I think,
anything. I'm just
yeah.
being a nice person and acknowledging you as a human being.
I
And-
think that's the big difference is that guys have this stigma that like, oh, if I say hi to her, she's going to think it's something else.
And
That
she's
is
going to go
not
crazy.
the
You need to let it go.
case.
Right. Like-
But here's my retort to that though, is that if you're giving her other reasons outside of that hello in a public setting, aka blowing her phone up or, you know, requesting to hook up or hang out soberly or whatever it may be, like then you're kind of putting it on yourself.
That's
Yeah.
mixed signals.
That's
It
mixed
is.
signals.
Mixed
And
signals.
that's where you get the psycho from. And I'm going to say, you
It's-
kind of deserve it.
But that's,
Oh, yeah.
but that's what makes, okay, so this is a personal experience I'm just thinking about from years ago, but I never expect a one night stand or a consistent hookup buddy to approach me at a bar. But when you do treat me bad, it makes me feel bad about myself.
Yes.
It's not that I need you to be nice to me or show me any attachment. I'm just sitting here thinking, I do feel shitty, you know, like, we don't have to like each other, but do you really dislike me as a person or are you just trying to show off to people?
See, and I think
Yeah, I
that's
just
where
don't
guys
understand.
and girls kind of get confused because I'm going to say that like their ego oftentimes says like, oh, she's doing this because she wants me so bad.
Right.
Or she needs me. But it's like, honestly, I'm just feeling like shit myself because of the way you're treating me.
Yep.
Granted, at some point, maybe I need to let that go and say, why the fuck do I care? But at the same time, like I'm a human. I have emotions. And when you're telling me X, Y, and Z and then treating me a completely different way,
Yes.
then what do you
Amen.
like? It's me, right? Like it
Yeah.
has to be me. And so then it's a reflection of yourself. So I'm upset that I feel this way, not because
Right.
I'm like, oh, I need you, please. Like, it's like, come on. It's not always about
guys
you.
think that that's what girls need to hear when you're in bed. I'm in bed with you. I don't need, you already got me.
Right.
So don't try to say something that's nice and makes me feel attached. And then when you see me in public, it's like, who the fuck is this person?
Seriously.
I'm already in bed with you. You have me. That's
You've
it.
seen
You
me
can be
naked.
exactly.
You've been
You
inside
can be
of
nice
me.
to me. You don't need to tell me all these promises like, oh, let's get lunch, you know,
And like
or
honestly,
let's do this.
being mean to the girl that you hooked up with in public, it's not cool. It's not boost. It just makes you look
immature.
like, yeah, like grow up.
That's such
You
an
look
ego
like an idiot.
booster. Yeah, you do. You really do. And
This whole conversation reminds me of the movie He's Just Not That Into You, when Jennifer Aniston looks at her boyfriend and she goes, "Stop saying nice things to me unless you're going to marry me afterwards." Because
Yes.
it's like, well, why are you doing that if you don't have an intention of continuing to be nice
Oh, wait,
to me?
was it Jennifer Goodwin?
No, it was Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck.
Oh,
Remember,
yeah,
'cause he
yeah,
didn't wanna get
'cause
married.
They've been together for so long. Well, actually, that's a good point. Let's backtrack then, because one of the things is with relationships comes labels. So the guys were kind of struggling, and my mind is a bit fuzzy, but the guys were kind of struggling in the fact that they didn't want to seem like, they think it's pushy if a girl asks, well, what's the next step? You know, are we exclusive? When you bring her around, your friends, does that mean you're together dating or does that mean you're just exclusive? Because with labels literally comes the idea of, you know, somebody that's genuinely wanting to just know what are the next steps. So that's the thing that girls get self-conscious about is we're not sitting here delusional like, oh my God, we're in a relationship. I might just be wondering, are we exclusive? So how do I introduce you?
What I think it could be too, it's an easy way step for the next step. I 100% agree. Maybe introduce her to like one or two and see how it goes and then see how she acts with them. Because obviously if she's not trying to get in with the girls or making friends with the girls, then that could be another signal. And so I definitely think you should introduce her to girls and then take the steps from there and see.
Well, let me ask you girls this on your opinion, because I think I'm just taking stuff from that episode. But if a guy says, hey, do you want to come over pregame? I'm having a couple of the guys over and then we're going to go out. Would you like to do that? What do you take that as? Do you take it as, so you've been talking for about maybe a month or a week. I don't know at what rate everybody moves now. I sound old when I say that, but
grandma,
but it just, what do you take of that? Do you ask them the question, hey, I guess let me rephrase this. I know I'm going back and forth, but at what point do you ask, am I the only one you're sleeping with or have been seeing?
That question's a real fucking bitch.
It really is. It tugs at the heart.
I had to ask that question previously, because fucked up situation. But anyways, I think it depends on the situation.
I think so too.
I think it depends how often you guys hang out and see each other a week, how often you guys talk. I wouldn't say through texting. I would say more like on the phone or in person.
Yeah, no, texting is not, I would hope that's not a relationship.
No. And I think after a couple months, like the question and asking them to come over and meet my friends, I wouldn't really think that much into it because he's trying, I don't know, like asking to hang out with me. Then I guess the question does arise, like if there's other girls going up to him flirting, and then that's a question like, what's the situation? What are we? You invited me here. I came out for you with all of your friends where I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
And then
I think to piggyback off that too, it also depends, like you said, on the situation. Also the guy. Is this, because we all have that friend that brings on a girl every week. We can't do name calling, by the way. I'm going to stop you guys before somebody blurts out a name.
I was ready to scream.
We had the name in mind, but there are girls that are like that too.
Yeah.
They bring a guy, and in my mind, I just think, no, I don't think you guys are dating, but if you're bringing this girl or guy around, I'm thinking, you're comfortable enough to be like, I'm taking care of her. She's with me. She is my girl, or he's my guy.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I'm not sitting here thinking like, oh, is it serious? I would never ask that question to somebody when they bring their man or lady friend around, but I would probably think like, you obviously like her enough to introduce her to your friends. I think a lot of us can argue our friends might know us better than our family.
Oh, I agree.
And we see them a lot more. And personally, to me, my friends' opinions mean more than my family's. Yeah. I'm not saying I deny what they say, but to me, it is a big deal to bring you around, especially if you're the guy or girl that doesn't bring a bunch of them around.
I think this conversation brings up an interesting point, especially for the three of us, because I would say we have equal amounts of girlfriends and guy friends, but a majority of our time, especially when we're out, is surrounded by our guy friends. Yeah. And I think that's great, but it also poses the issue of like, if they do bring a girl around, the girls tend to come to us.
Yeah.
Number one, they might feel intimidated, but if they do feel welcomed, if they come to us, it's like, where does the loyalty lie? Because if we do have, say, a guy friend that we know is hooking up with other people, and it's like, I don't necessarily know what you've disclosed to her. Like, are you guys exclusive? Does she think that? Or like, whatever.
What do you bring up to her?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, when they ask questions like, hey, so like, is he a good guy? Like, is he hooking up with anyone else? And it's like, my hands are kind of tied because like, he's my friend and I'm not trying to rat him out, but like, I'm not trying to lie to you
because I'm a girl.
Because I'm a girl and I've been there and I would want to know the truth, but
my
I don't
opinion,
know.
It would depend. Well, are we talking about if she first came into the group and started asking those questions?
Just like the first time you bring her around,
I honestly think that's probably like a red flag in her situation. That's just coming straight from me.
What do you mean, like a red flag?
Like, if she's just play it by ear, see how it is. I would like to get to know the girl a little more before I disclose that information to her.
Actually, you're right.
I'm
because
I'm
saying from a girlfriend coming into the group, I didn't ask, oh, like, is Driss a nice guy? Is this, no, whether you told me the truth or not, I'm gonna literally be like, I don't really care what you guys think.
You have to figure it out yourself anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe after the third or fourth time, I might ask the question, not even third or fourth. I think to the point where I know you're comfortable around me and I'm comfortable around you. I may ask, I don't care because we haven't had the conversation, but does he do this a lot? Does he bring around a lot of girls? Yeah. Sometimes you can tell if you're constantly being brought around and, whenever you go out and I'm the same girl that shows up every time, sometimes it's just a given. then I might ask that question.
Yeah.
But if I'm not being brought around a lot and you guys are talking about, remember last weekend when this happened? What do you mean last weekend when this happened? I was supposed to see him. Yeah. Like, those are things you might question, but it's also about how comfortable you are around their friends to ask that question.
But I also think, a tidbit to all of our guy friends, because I know you'll be listening. Don't put us in that position.
Don't do it.
That's
and
just
you all
rude.
know that we will state our opinion. Right.
I would say that
I'm probably the one not to do it the most, just because I've been on that side.
Right.
So
but
I'm gonna be
like, don't.
I know,
Yeah.
I do know, but coming into this group, nobody hates you right off the bat. People are going to question you because we all care about our friends.
Right.
We care about are you right for her? Are you wrong? But we don't make that opinion based off of the first impression. However, if that impression stays with you and that's just your personality, you might be hearing an earful.
And right.
True.
And first impressions to me are honestly the most important. So if you come up in here at a whirlwind and doing crazy stuff, I'm going to automatically just sit there and not give you the chance a day.
Yeah.
And then I will tell you my straight up opinion.
The good news is Sumie made the cut.
She did.
I did.
It's hard.
I'll never forget when Mallory was standing right next to me. It was at Driss's old place, and I was meeting. First of all, I met everybody all at that night, but Mallory looked over at me and just started talking, and we hit it off right away.
We did.
But then this bitch turns around. I think it was to Ashley and goes, "Who the hell is that?" She was like, "I think that's Driss's new girl." And I was like, "Oh, we're gonna have problems."
We don't have issues.
But but I didn't take it to heart. I just thought, what? Of course, I'm this new girl. Also, I'm foreign looking as fuck. So you're probably like, she stands out. We've never fucking seen her in our life. Like,
our
who is she?
our group friend is very diverse. So,
I was going to say, out of any group that you're talking to, like, you could bring somebody that's freaking lime green into the group.
Right.
And be like, oh, what's up?
But no, I think that what Cassie said was pretty good. It's hard when you bring somebody around and people get attached. It's not that our loyalty won't lie within our friends, but it does get hard because we are girls, and the last thing we want to do is disrespect another girl.
Yeah.
Because the one thing you do want is that your friends are always going to tell you the truth, whether someone's right or wrong for you, and they're not going to tell you what to do, though.
No, and we've also all been there before, so I think that's why we're more sympathetic to girls in that situation, because we've been there, and it's like, that your hands are tied, but at the end of the day, it's like, I know this bitch is either going to get drunk and go on a psycho binge, or she's going to go home and cry herself to sleep because she's so confused.
Every girl's been there, so all you girls listening, don't say that it wasn't you. Because I thought the same thing.
We've been there.
Oh, I've been there way too many times.
I think behind every crazy girl, there's been a relationship or a guy that
talk about crazy girls. I want to really talk about crazy girls.
Okay, let's get into it.
I really want to talk about crazy girls because I'm going to be honest.
Crazy has different classifications too.
I know.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to say to you. I think that I'm kind of crazy, and I would openly admit that.
Right with you.
And I would openly say that probably anyone that knows me would also say that I'm a little bit batshit, but in a good way.
I think we all are, I promise.
I think it comes from a good place. Maybe not all the time. Maybe not all the time. But I just want to know, like, what do you think? Number one, let's classify crazy girls.
Because I want to explain. Crazy is different than
psycho,
because psycho is truly psycho. Psycho is just you have no boundaries and you literally have no stance on your guiltiness. Crazy is just, I'm a little paranoid. I am worried. I am insecure. Yeah. And I think psycho has a different level of insecurity, but psycho girls could be the ones that just show up. That's what
like when they analyze your Snap story or Insta or something
and they you're in bed and right.
Or they'll text your friends, be like, "Hey."
Ooh, the texting the friends is a real dangerous territory.
I did that 2 years later, so I'll say I did do that 2 years later. So you have to wait to do that. You have to wait.
That's true. There's also levels of crazy and when you're allowed to let them fly.
Yes.
You can't let your full-on psycho flag fly in the first month or you're over.
Yeah. Crazy's okay to show, like, that first night that you're with somebody and you cry about something. That's different.
Whoa, you're crying on the first night?
Or not the first night.
Oh,
not the first night. I mean, like, the first time you're with them when they cry. Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. But
I was about to say, oh my God, they're running for the hills. You better fucking run.
Yeah, but that's the person I'm saying that just shows up. She's staying in at night. She was told, like, yeah, I don't know, I might stay in. You're not at that level of your relationship.
Stays in because of you.
Well, not even that. She sees you did end up going out, but he doesn't have to tell you he went out. You're not. And then she's like, I can throw on some makeup and meet him out there. And then you have that run, that bump in like, oh, I didn't realize you were out.
And
Right.
you see the guy look like he just shit his pants 1,000 times.
Oh my God. The best
I'm
part,
gonna be honest,
though,
I kind of live for those.
I do too. I
Not
love this.
personally, but watching them
I
happen.
do have
to
a
see those.
story about that. So after this, I'll tell it.
I was going to say, you should just tell it now.
I mean, I can, but I was just going to say, like, before the crazy, though, when you first meet a girl, there's going to be so much more stuff that was done before the girl goes crazy. Like, if you're telling her things like, I like you a lot, like, blah, 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 blah. And then you go and do the opposite, AKA possibly a double standard in the situation, depending on it.
Yep.
But I've been hooking up with a guy, and he took a girl to Hawaii.
Excuse.
Yes. So
What?
I
then
just got goosebumps because my crazy flag's flying.
My cycle.
so then, like, after he returned, he was texting me to come over and hook up or whatever. And I was like, I need to know, are you with this girl or not? Because you went on a trip for a week to Hawaii with just her, and you said friends.
I have so many issues with this.
Oh yeah, I have so many.
We're all just
But then
shaking a little
But
bit.
I mean, I like stood my ground and I was like, I need to know, because if you're like that is a serious, to me, that's a way of saying that I like this girl. I want to have a future with her.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sorry, if I'm hooking up with a guy and he asked me to go, okay, maybe if he said Australia or Italy or something, like, I would definitely go. But
If it's
that would
legit.
take, if it's legit, but like that would be the next step. If it's just
yeah.
somebody that like I'm hooking up with other girls on the side, I don't know if I could do that. Or if you go, don't post her in your story.
Yeah,
for everybody to see.
Well, I'm thinking, like, even aside from your point of view, like, this bitch just
Does she
got
know?
a trip. That's what I'm thinking. Because
Yes.
if I was her, oh, hell
I would
no.
not think that he's sleeping around. I would be like, no, this is
If
a
you're
real
taking me
deal.
to fucking Hawaii
Right,
for
yeah.
a week, this better be fucking locked down.
But you know what, though? There are some guys who would go as
That's
far as to
disgusting.
do that.
Yeah.
There are. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're not here to riff on guys. It's just the other
Oh,
perspective you don't see.
Yeah. Well, he is
That's-
a very, like, aside from that, he does mean well. He's a very, very nice guy. Like, I'm still friends with him. I talk to him every once in a while. Like, when I see him, I say, hey, what's up? But so he said that they're from the trip. He realized, like, he's not into her. They're not compatible for each other. Whatever. Just basically trying to make me come over and pleasure him and get his
when did he
fix.
tell you that?
This was like
As
later.
he's-
Like,
as
what
he's
time
trying
of
to coerce
day,
you.
what day of week?
It was obviously during a hookup time on the weekend.
Yeah.
But look, I didn't go over.
Good for you, Mal.
Good.
I know. Pat on the back for me.
I wish we had Bashir's soundboard for
That's
the
what
applause.
I'm saying. It actually
Right?
comes in.
Oh, yay. Round of applause for me. But the next day I went out. This was a weekend where I went wild, batshit crazy. Well, I didn't go crazy. I just went batshit drunk crazy and just drank a lot.
A fine difference.
Yes. And so we were leaving the bar because it was last call. I see him with the girl that he went on Hawaii
hell
with,
no.
and he sees me in his eyes. Like, I wish you guys could see it, but so he was like facing her and his head was down, but his head was like at a 45-degree angle staring at me, and his pupils were big. And I turned around and I was like, oh my God, Ashley, like, look who's here. We both turned and looked. He was gone. He vanished. Ran out.
He's like, I gotta get up
My
through him.
God.
Yes.
You know what, though? He didn't say. He told you he wasn't compatible. He didn't say her pussy and his dick wasn't compatible.
Don't
There's
be
also
on
a
his
difference.
side.
I'm not.
Be
No,
on
I'm
his
not.
side.
But
that's his
that is the
defense.
underlying meaning. She's still fun to hook up with. She's still a good time.
I just meant I didn't want to marry her.
Exactly. That's
You know
what
what?
he
I'm
meant
about to pull
say.
up these texts and like for sure say what he said, because
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of guys will use that as a justification. And that's why it's so important when you hear from somebody. When are you hearing from them? Is it a Wednesday afternoon that they want to see you? Or is it a Saturday night? He saw you, you guys made eye contact at a bar, and then you're getting that text at 2 a.m.
because you look fly as fuck.
Don't worry about her. You know, she just came out.
We just
and I
happen
saw
to be in the
her.
same group.
We're just friends. She's just a friend.
God, we've heard them all.
We've heard them all. But that kind of goes back to, so we'll kind of wrap this topic up and move on to the next one, which we can segue into. But in general, you know, it's different. I feel like when maybe our parents were younger and when, you know, you were dating years
It's
back.
social media.
It is social media. But like,
Agreed.
sometimes it comes down to, I know this sounds so dumb, but because we grew up in a social media period, I'll be honest, it was almost the time where he or she posts that first picture. Because there's sometimes a girl that will post that picture first of you two.
It's huge.
And then
it's
you're
down
like,
another
oh,
week.
yeah, right. And then, you know what's so funny? When he or she posts the first picture, all their friends are waiting for the other one. Okay, so when are you going to post the first picture? That almost in a fucked up way proves whether we are together or not.
Especially if it takes too long. If it's a week difference because there wasn't a good photo op, fair. If you're going on a month, 2 months, and there's multiple photos on one page and not a single photo.
I would feel, honestly, if that
good.
happened to me, well, if I was with a guy and he posted the first photo, I would feel more comfortable about the relationship. And
100%.
But if a girl always posts, I'm like, how long is this one's going to last?
But that's almost like the three magical words, the I love you. You know, when people say I love you, I mean, there's always that fear of I don't want to be the first to say it.
Oh,
that's another stage in your relationship where
I hate when they say it during sex too. Like, bitch, we're just hooking up. Stop saying it.
Well, that's weird if you're saying it just hooking up. I mean, like, that should be something that's said when, you know what, we have pictures out there together. Our friends know we're together. Doesn't have to mean that you met each other's family, but I'm just saying it's been exclusive enough where it's like, no, we're together. We've been together. Mm-hmm. We already made that establishment. I'm not seeing anybody. You're not seeing. I'm old fashioned in the sense I'm going to ask the question. If I see the signs, you're bringing me around every weekend. We're going on dates every week and we're hanging out all the time. Not like I know exactly what you're doing 24/7, but I basically know what you're doing because if you're not with me, you're at home.
Yeah.
And unless you're dating someone for 2 hours out of the week, you know what I mean? That's where I'm going to think to myself, okay, I know we're together. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you that question. Mm-hmm. It's been, hey, so-and-so months. I haven't seen you around with anybody else. We seem to get along with our friends, with each other's friends. I just want to know, am I delusional? Because me personally, I actually have, and I'm not going to be afraid to say it. Hey, I haven't seen anyone, texted anyone, talked to anybody, or sleeping with anyone. Are you on the same page, or are you sleeping with someone?
No,
are you seeing someone?
Fair.
Right.
I think that's a good point.
You need to bring it up.
But I also think there's a flip side, and I'm not saying I support it, but I think there's a lot of girls, and I'm not saying I've never been that girl, but just that is too afraid to ask the questions.
Oh, it's a scary question to ask.
Because you know that you're not always going to get the answer that you want. And it's like, so do I ask the question now and then just deal with it? And whether it's like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work and then end it? Or do you just keep going because you're selfish and you're like, I really like this guy. I like the way it's going.
Yeah.
And as soon as I ask the question, there's a 50-50 chance that it's over.
But let me one up your craziness and ask you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the I love you. Are you saying it because you felt like you had to say it back?
True.
Or are you saying it because you've been wanting to say it? I just happened to break the ice on it.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
That's a really tough one.
I save I love yous. I really do. And like maybe I'm old fashioned because I think a lot of people, especially nowadays, throw it around.
They do. I think so.
I'm the kind of person, like, when I say that, I really mean it.
Right.
And I'm not going to, like, I don't really feel like I'm afraid to say it, but I also don't have to say it often because I don't throw it around. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, like, if I'm only using it for, you know, one person or a set group of people in my lifetime, it's like, well, I'm not as nervous about it, but somebody that uses it often is going to feel like, okay, as soon as I say I love you, that means that we're like locked in.
Right.
And that's a twisted sense of.
And those people don't realize they
right.
may have not been ready to say it back. They just said it because, well, I had to say
and
it.
That's
you know
when
what
the
I mean?
crazy flag flies.
And I just don't think, well, coming off of that, but you know, everybody watches Riverdale. At least I hope.
Oh my God.
And
yes.
is everybody here caught up on it?
Yes.
But when Archie told Veronica that he loved her and she freaked out a little bit. But I just think that.
But do you know why she freaked out? It didn't. She
doesn't
felt
know
like
how to
he
love
wasn't.
anybody.
Well, that, but also he said it during a grieving time.
True.
And that's why you have to be careful about the
I think
false.
that's almost a catch-22 though, because it's like, I get that you don't want to hear it during a grieving time because you're vulnerable, but that's also when you realize who you care about the
That's
most.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's almost
That's
like,
true.
I don't know if I would be offended or in questioning it, or if I would be like, oh my God, this is legit.
I think it'd just be a situation thing.
Situational
might be
thing.
case by
We can't
case.
talk about Riverdale. People don't watch that shit.
but you
But
all
you should.
because
This is
it's
a plug.
so good.
This is a plug. Watch Riverdale.
But okay, so we'll kind of, move into the next topic. But, one thing we did say, just communicate, tell, it's scary to ask those
Use
questions, but
words.
the scariest that you have to ask the questions.
And you have to make sure
have
that
to.
you fully understand them from both sides too.
You
not
have to
just your
establish.
own.
You also
Yes.
need to read bullshit, ladies.
Yes,
Yeah.
read between those lines.
If he wants you, he wants you, and you'll know it.
Trust me.
I promise you,
Yes.
you'll know it. Because if you've had enough, I'm not saying rejections or shutdowns, you'll know what it's right to feel like when.
And he'll make time for you too. Like,
Yeah.
he'll definitely make time and you'll definitely know.
Also, if you've fallen trapped to any of these shenanigans, you're not stupid.
No, you're not.
We're all that girl.
Oh, I've been there.
Oh, yeah, we are. But so kind of moving on. I mean, I think this does play a part, but, you know, one of the other topics we covered were stereotypes and double standards. And they kind of go hand in hand, so we don't have to differentiate the two. But, you know, it's that one person at a bar that you look at and you're like, hey, you're not this way around us. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying maybe you do stupid things around your friends, but you got to put on that proper face for a guy. That's not double. That's, you know what I mean? That's not wrong. That's okay.
Yeah.
You can't show your crazy side. You have to show your personality from day one, but I don't think you have to show your crazy side or, you know, your out of, I guess, control side. But, you know, but there are, you know, the first stereotype I wanted to talk about are the people that really just aren't the same person when they're with somebody.
I hate those people. I will openly say it.
them.
I will openly say that I cannot stand if you're gonna fucking act like, and I understand that, like, depending on the group of people you're around, you may alter yourself a little bit. Like certain things,
like if you're on work people.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just certain personality changes, and like maybe you think certain things are funny in one group, or maybe you talk about certain things, and that's fine. But if you're a completely different fucking person, I cannot stand you. Like, I cannot, just don't be around me and don't try
a double
it.
life. It's leading a double life.
Are we talking about like the boys or girls that come into a group because sometime or
No. I'm talking about the people that you know how your friend is, but when they're with somebody, they act different.
Sorry, I was looking at my likes and comments on my picture I just posted, so I kind of missed it.
And that's Mallory.
God,
That's where
Mallory.
I was going to say that's where the no Mallory comes in.
But no, I mean, it's more so like, I think that is a stereotype, is people who you can camouflage into different groups of friends. That's actually a good social
chameleon.
quality to have. Right. Or chameleon. That's what I meant
I
to
thought
say.
you guys were about to talk about chameleonaire.
That's what I mean. Like, you're a chameleon. And that's a good social habit to have. You know, there's certain things, you know what, I'm going to filter. I'm not going to talk about this because this is a group that's very
Which is
one-sided.
fine, but like, don't be a bitch around one group and then like a sweetheart to the next.
That's what I'm saying. But they act different around either significant others or friends just to, you know, fit in. And that's not the way to go about things.
No, and it makes you look honestly stupid.
It really does.
Because it's like, if there is enough people in this room that can call you on your bullshit, like, why are you even trying it? And like, you know, those people that have friends that just like, they don't say anything. They just look at you, and you look around and you're like, you all just give the big eye roll. That's like, yep, here we go again. And I just don't be that person.
No,
I don't know why you would have to be that person. Like, I'm I'm kind of quiet around new people. But then
you are.
Once I get to know them, or if I'm comfortable, like, I'm pretty loud, and I'm also pretty bitchy. And like, that's not going to change from group to group. Like, I'm even the same way at work. Granted, I have a filter and I'm not as rude,
but that's you being professional.
Right. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, even in that setting, if I don't have to change myself that much for work, I don't know why y'all feel like between 3 different groups of people, you got to be Kylie, Kim, and fucking Kanye.
But also, I mean, there is a difference between when someone's coming into your group versus you going into someone's group.
That's true.
You know, because I think I'm more comfortable with myself when someone's coming into the group. I'm like, I'm just going to be my crazy self. I'm going to be my same loud,
because you're more comfortable
self. Right.
because you know more people.
You know more people, and you feel like, you know, they're more worried about being judged than you are.
Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, but I mean,
I was just going to go, I feel off vibes, like the energy that a person brings. So like, if I'm new to a group and there's a person with like high energy and just doesn't really care about a lot of things, or it's just a front, like, I'll kind of gravitate more towards them.
Yeah. So that's a good point, though. Vibes do make a difference.
Because I'm crazy. Like, I can come into a group and I might filter it a little bit and not be so straightforward. Yeah. But I'll like say it still.
But there's also a difference between vibes are those unspoken things that you just pick up on. So there's a difference between when I walk into a room and I feel like this is a stereotype. People that are just shy people in general, where I'm not getting any bad vibes from you. I'm honestly not even really picking up anything from you. So I'm just going to test the waters. But then there are those group of people that sit there quietly and you just feel the judgment in the air.
And they stay on their phone.
Right. Like, you just feel like the next move is being studied so hard by them. And those are the people that are afraid to branch out and allow new people to come into their group. They just have this mindset. No, this is my group of friends. Yeah. This person was dating this person. I'm the leader of the pack. There's those type of people's, the alpha type personality. You know what I mean?
That's not a shout out to you, Alpha.
No, Alpha has too big of a head.
You're not the alpha.
I love you, Alpha.
You're not the alpha.
But no, and I mean, that's a big red flag is people who don't like to have new people in the group, but your vibe also can change that. You know, are you somebody that people like to have around, or are you somebody where everyone just rolls their eyes when you're like, oh yeah, I invited so-and-so to come pregame with us, and you're like, oh shit.
I think that comes to like social unawareness, which I think we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Is like, you need to be aware. Like, I'm not saying you need to read a crowd and say like, this person likes me this much and this person likes this about me and this person doesn't like me for this reason. But like, just be socially aware. If the vibe in the room every time you talk is like people are quiet, they're looking at their phones, they're awkwardly looking at each other, then just shut your damn mouth and like reassess.
Or they're
I'm
gonna
not
get
saying
the death stare.
go into a shell and like don't talk for the rest of the night, but it's like just reassess. Like, what am I saying? Like, maybe I'm coming off too abrasive. Maybe they don't like to talk about these things. Like, it's like, just read the group, have social awareness, and just like, don't be a fucking idiot.
Yep. That's also another stereotype too, is like that the gossiper, the one who just doesn't know when to stop. Like, hey, we moved on from the conversation. Listen, we vented about this person. We talked about them. We made fun of them. End of story. But everything just comes back to,
well, we all have that one person that no matter what still irks us. Like, we could see like the first letter of their name and we all just eye roll.
Yeah, but why do they irk you? And one of the things that irks me about those people are people who just, all they have to say is negative shit. All you bond with them is negativity.
Right.
Like,
which,
we're
like,
together.
on a given day, if I'm in the mood to talk some shit, I'm ready for it. Bring it. We'll be best friends.
That's on a given day.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, on that given day, we're best friends. We hate the same shit. I want to talk shit until my face turns purple, and I'm into it. But on a day where I'm not feeling that way, or I'm feeling like my normal self, I would say.
Yep.
And all you can still talk about is the negativity, or even that one instance of negativity. Like, I hate that too. They just bring up the same situation every time because that's the only thing we have in common. Mm-hmm. Well, then stop talking to me.
Yeah. But that's where you should pick up, be aware, like, listen, the room is done with the conversation. Why do you keep leading it?
Yeah.
It's done. Don't bring it back. Stop rehashing a wound that people are trying to close.
Yeah. You gotta pick up the vibe. That kind of reminds me of wine night the other week.
Oh, wait, was it?
With Bashir, our dear friend Bashir.
Oh my!
Did not pick up on the vibe.
It was a funny story. It wasn't even a guy, but you know, But see, that the difference is there's people like that, like Bashir, who just literally was like, "Fuck, I did not even realize I was saying something that made someone uncomfortable." Yeah, those are the type of people where you just laugh about and you're like, "Oh my god, that's funny." Do you remember when you said this? Like, hey, cut it off. But then there are the people that are opposite of Bashir that will just be like, no, I know I was saying it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just wanted to keep going.
I also think it's different because Bashir is in the friend group, and it took one of us, me, to say, shut the fuck up. This conversation is over. And then for him to be like, oh my God.
I want to know the situation.
Bashir just made a comment about having a son that might grow up to be, you know, homosexual. And we had a friend in the room that I think it made it a little uncomfortable about. But, you know, somebody like Bashir, like exactly what you said, who's in the friend group, who genuinely had no bad intentions. I'm not saying people who bring up these topics have bad intentions, but there's always that one person that doesn't know people well. And the first thing they talk about is religion, politics, sexuality, abortion, like just shit that it's like, you don't
gotta save
bring
that for
up.
another time.
You don't do that.
Talk to your friends about it, but don't bring it up. And that's a stereotype, is heavily opinionated people that don't know when to stop.
Right.
I also think if you're coming at it from an angle that's trying to get a reaction out of people, like, I'm not really feeling that. I don't need you to be going against what everyone else believes or what you think they believe
just, like,
to get them going.
Right. Yeah. It's just uncomfortable. Like, even if like I just met you or I know you, like, for me to talk about my side of views on politics, like, sometimes I'm so comfortable. Like, I think a couple weeks ago, like, they brought it up at my apartment, and I was still a little uncomfortable because your opinion, everybody's going to have a difference of opinions. Yep. And either way, like, just agree to disagree and call it quits. Like,
but there's people that don't know how to do that. There are people that just do not understand, you know what, we have to agree to disagree. And those are the people that just make it so uncomfortable, because that's also a conversation that we're like, hey, we're at a dead end. Stop talking. Yeah. Stop talking about it.
Or we're just going to keep circling around the same issue, and we're never going to agree.
No.
Kick them out.
To be honest, the point of an argument isn't never really to agree. It's just to get perspective.
Exactly. To get perspective. And for you not to take in someone's perspective, whether you think it's ridiculous or not, that's not fair. You have to just end the conversation from there, which I think we do a pretty good job of as a group of friends. You know, hey, you know, this person is not going to budge. Why are you forcing your opinions on them?
Right.
So that's kind of the thing with stereotypes, but also, so I don't know if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, we had, when we were talking about stereotypes and double standards, one of the things were approaching the opposite sex at a bar. And, you know, we kind of were talking about, when is it acceptable to accept a drink from somebody and also give them the idea like, hey, I gave it a chance. I'm not into you, but thanks for the drink, versus when you're just using them. Because I think, I'll be honest, and I'm going to side with the guys on this. They have a lot of leverage against girls on this. You know, I genuinely came up to you because I thought you looked good. I'm sorry, you didn't dress like that for a girl to compliment you. You dressed like that for a guy to approach you. Yeah. I'm coming and approaching you in the most gentleman manner I can. And I bought you a drink.
Yeah.
At what point, girls, is it taking advantage of that person? At what point is it?
I think if you have no intention of even speaking with this man for the rest of the night, like we've all had that situation where like a freak show creep has come up. Okay.
Then you take it and run.
And but take the drink and you fucking book it.
Except you trigger something in that.
Oh. But no, it's just kind of like, if you know that you're not interested, you know that you're not going to have a conversation. Like, okay, I also think it comes down to age and situation.
Maturity.
If I'm 25 and some guy that I know damn well from the first sentence that I'm not going to want to talk to him, and I'm definitely not going to want to hook up with him, I don't really see the need for him to buy me a drink, because I'm grown and I can pay for my own drinks. And I know that sounds sort of like, but like, I don't really feel like I need to do that. And that's just me.
But it's also when he brings up the drink in the conversation, is he someone that came up to you, conversed with you, then asked you for a drink? Is that when you're like, I'm not going to take a drink? What if the first thing he did, just hypothetically, was offer you a drink?
Yeah, I'll probably take it.
And
exactly.
And it was in his hand, or
no, just hey, let me buy you a drink.
I think it depends where I'm standing, to be honest,
or who you're standing with too.
Maybe.
Not who I'm.
What if we are with your one other friend that's there at the bar and you're trying to get a drink and he comes up and says, hey, let me get you a drink.
I think it depends on the situation. Like if I was standing at the bar getting a drink and he was like, hey, like, what are you drinking? I'll get it for you. And my friend is just standing there. I would have to be in the situation and in the moment, but I would accept it. But if he comes over and then he's conversing with me and my friend, and then he's like, hey, let me buy you guys a drink, then I'll accept it.
Yeah.
But
that's
I think
him offering.
Yeah. And I think I would still accept it if he just offered me, and then go from there. It just depends on the situation that I'm in.
I think I think I'm thinking about people's feelings too. You know what I mean? Like if it is like he's just trying to buy a drink,
that's
for
okay.
whatever his purpose may be, then I'm going to take it. I'm not above free drinks. Don't get me wrong.
No,
I will take the drink.
I don't think any of us are, to be honest.
No.
But.
And like, yeah, I can afford my own drinks, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't like to have to not pay for them.
Exactly.
Right. But I also think like if I've invested 30 minutes of conversation because I'm feeling bad for him, and then he offers to buy me a drink, I might even just say like, I mean, I'll take the drink, but that's it.
And that's
then I bring up a
but
fake
you know
boyfriend.
what though? I do feel like that's
best.
mature. I think that is mature, because I've been in a situation, I swear to God, it rarely happens, but I will specifically remember them. For someone who is not single, I don't right away come up to guys, oh yeah, I'm in a relationship. Yeah, I want a free drink. My boyfriend's okay with me getting a free drink.
No, I agree.
But it also turns into, at what point are we just having a cool conversation? Or do I feel like, I'm sorry, you're naive as fuck if you don't think that this man is trying to get with you. I think initially they are. Yeah. But I do think that there are some guys that genuinely enjoy a conversation and then say, okay, let me take it a step further. Can I get you a drink? I might openly say at that point exactly what you said. I would love a free drink. And I'll take it. I still might not bring up the boyfriend, but when some conversation goes a certain way where I feel like it's not okay, I still don't feel like I have to right away say, I might just be like, hey, it was nice talking to you. Like, I'm going to get back with my friends, or hey, my boyfriend's coming. Like, that's when I might throw it in.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because I didn't do anything shitty to you. If you want to buy me a drink, you can. But I'm not going to turn it into, I'm giving you the vibes or I'm trying to get with you. But I know that the opposite side of that, just playing devil's advocate, might be, well, that's shitty that you had the conversation and he got you a drink.
I can see that side of it.
I do too. I do.
But here's what I'm going to say though, is like, it's not as common and it definitely doesn't happen as much. But if girls went up to guys all the time offering to buy them drinks, I'm going to be honest, whether they're being shitty or not shitty, they're taking the free drink.
Right. I think so too.
Whether they have any intention of hooking up with you, conversing with you, it doesn't really matter. You're taking the free drink. And that's not a slam on guys. That's just who doesn't want a drink for free.
But that's a double standard. There are some girls that get hounded on. If you weren't going to get with him, why'd you get a free drink? You can't sit there and tell me if a nice, decent looking girl came up to you and offered you a drink, you wouldn't take it. What maturity comes in is, at what point are you enforcing, like, hey, nothing's going to come out of this. We are at a bar. We're adults. You bought me a drink. Shoot, I'll buy you a drink if you want me to, just to be nice to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it depends how drunk they are, to be honest, and how mature.
That's
because
true.
I've went to one time a guy did buy me a drink, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back over to my friends, or like, thank you, I really appreciate it. And then he got mad, and I was just like, you were talking to me, and I was literally had my back on the counter, like trying to get away from you. And then, like,
but he didn't understand social cues, and exactly, like,
so,
was he extremely intoxicated, or
I don't know.
Sometimes they might be too drunk to understand, but if you're not too drunk to understand that I'm like, I keep backing up, or I'm looking around looking for my friends,
I need you to go home, close that tab, and go home.
It's time.
Before you wake up the next morning, like, that was not who I thought I saw last night.
Right. That is not what I imagined.
No, but it is a double standard, because, you know, it is very unconventional for a girl to come up to a guy and say, hey, let me buy you a drink. Because I think almost a guy, I don't know what guys think. I mean, we don't have one here right now, but how would you take that? You know what I mean? If you're a guy, do you take that as, that's attractive? That's a girl taking an initiative and coming up to me. But here's kind of the double-edged sword. Is she attractive? Because if she's attractive, you're going to be like, hell fucking yeah, I'm going to talk to her and get this drink. If she's not up your alley, you're probably going to be like, I mean, I could see guys being like, no, it's okay, I'm fine, I'm with my friends.
Well, I could also see guys taking the drink because it's free and then being really mean to her, or just walking away.
Like, don't be mean. Just be like, thank you for the drink. Have a nice night.
Exactly.
That's it.
It's all about the approach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and coming from, you know how sometimes you are with your friends, like you brought up, like, if they do offer to buy your friend a drink, or if not, would you go up to a guy, if he had his friends at the bar, would you offer to buy all of his friends a drink, or would you, like, what would happen if they
How many
insisted?
friends does he have?
Yeah, that was a topic from when we did have another guest during this episode. You know, one of the things she said was, whenever she's with her friends and somebody approaches her, she tells him, are you buying around for my friends? What do you guys think about that?
I don't think that's
both
fair.
girls and boys, whatever it may be.
I don't think it's fair. I think it's mostly fair if they offer and if they're conversing. But if a guy was like, "Can I get you a drink?" I would say yes and not get one for my friend.
Yeah,
it's just not.
Your
fair.
friends are not going to get their feelings hurt. I'm sorry. Otherwise, they're just desperate.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It's no, bitch, you didn't get hit on. She got hit on,
and they're just jealous.
Yeah.
So I personally would never do that. The only time that my friends do get drinks is if they fully say, can I get you girls a drink?
Yeah.
Or what do you guys
want?
And
that comes into the quantity
I also
play
think
too.
if they come up and they're talking to, say it's just you and one other girl, because I think it's a big difference. If you're with a group of 12 people, nobody's buying fucking 12 drinks. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And nobody should have to, because I sure as hell wouldn't buy 12
I cry giving my money to them. I cry. Or I'll leave my card at the bar.
Seriously. But no, I think if you're with one other girl and you've been talking to some guy and he's been talking to both of you, I think that's when it gets kind of tricky. Like, if you're not really sure who he's feeling until he brings the statement of like, can I buy you a drink? I feel like that gets awkward.
That's when you know who he wanted to talk to.
Yeah. And that's like the final line. He will make the initiative. It's his money. It's not yours.
But see,
you're not wrong.
I'm going to play it, and I swear I'm not trying to put it in a good perspective, but if I was a friend and I was just with one other person, I might have to swallow my pride and be like, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Or I might kind of step away to be like, you know what? Like, I'm going to give my girl a chance. If she's feeling him and he's feeling her, I'm going to step out of it. I hope you have good friends that do that.
Some friends, like, people are just so oblivious to that, and then they're just, like, cock blocking, and it's just like...
Cock blockers. Oh,
like, we can't even get into that shit.
Get away.
It's
you know what happens
when you don't know you're doing it.
Yeah, because we've all done it. Let's not act like we haven't.
But then you're, like, in the middle of it, like, oh, my God.
You know what the worst is? I'm going to tell you right now, is if you are in a situation where you're out and you're drinking and like the gods have sent someone to you, okay, and like it's been weeks and you're like, fuck yes, it's my time to shine.
I've been in a dry spell.
It's going well. And then no, just picture this. You're at the bar, you're really feeling this guy, shit's going well, he's buying you drinks, everything is great. out of the corner of your eye, you see your main bitch crying. Oh. And you're like, why? Why did you choose tonight
and
of
you
all
question, am I a good person or am I a horny person?
And you have the internal battle with yourself. Like, how drunk am I? And because especially if it's like that one friend that's crying about the same thing every time, you want to be there. You're a friend. I feel for you. He's still an asshole. I get it. But it's also like, bitch,
how many
this
times?
is my
Let me
one
ask you,
opportunity.
Are you out with your several group of friends where you know she's not alone? Because here's the thing. If she's alone, if me and her went out, because I'll make that pact. Hey, you and I are going out together. That does not mean one of you should be going home with somebody.
Yeah.
But
unless
if you're
you
out with,
ask and make it stated, because I've done that.
Or like, you could say like, hey, if I see so and so out, I'm going home.
Yeah.
But that's another thing you should establish from right away. Hey, let's both go out. We're both single. If you want to go out with someone, honestly, not even single. Like, okay, if I'm the one friend you bring around who's in the relationship, obviously I'm not going home with anybody. I might say, hey, if you find somebody, if I'm telling you it's okay, it's okay. I will get home. I'll find a way to get home. It's fine. But I just feel like if I'm the person that's trying to get some and I see my friend out, I'm going to question, okay, did we come here with a group?
Yeah.
Because then I'll say, you know what, I'm okay to be selfish.
I also think it's a difference between like, is this the girl that's crying every time you go out about the same thing? Or is this something has really happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, I'm going to say it now. If you're the girl who cried wolf and you cry about the same shit every Friday and Saturday night for the last 4 years,
I'm leaving your ass.
It's over.
Yeah.
Someone else can get you a cab and I will see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Like you said, I think in the situation too, if it is something serious or like if you don't know, I'd be like, I really enjoyed talking to you. Here's my number. Can I have your number?
Exactly.
And then like,
there's ways around it for sure.
Yeah, there is. And then like, you'll really know if he's interested in you, if he texts you or you text him and he responds and wants to meet back up or something.
Yeah. Right.
But if you're crying wolf, seriously, I've been that person. Like I've cried over a guy every weekend.
But you can't be the girl that wakes up in the morning and is mad at your friends.
Right.
You have to be the one that's like,
and like, I would say like, I've been that girl, but then I do wake up and if I did get left, I'm not salty about it.
Yeah, no.
I'm just like,
I'm not
damn.
going to sit there and help you constantly.
Yeah.
Like, luckily, like all of us, like when we've done it, we've had a group of friends. Like we're in a huge group and we all look out for each other and stuff. But then sometimes like in the middle, like I remember specifically one time I was like upset about a guy crying. I think it was at Brothers actually. Sorry.
God, everything at
So
Brothers.
I know. Brothers
we can't shout out.
Shit.
It's okay.
Oh,
it's
shit,
just
but it's fine. It's
whatever.
Fine. You guys know what
it.
it's like.
It's also called sisters, uncles, nephews.
Yeah. It's like 7 bars in one. But I remember I was like in the midst of crying, like really hardcore. And then I just like realized to myself, what the fuck am I doing? And then I just walked up to the bar, did another shot and just like, this needs to stop.
Sometimes you can snap out of it.
Yeah. And I had to snap out of it. And then you know what? I cut the guy off and here we are today.
Yeah.
With another
and
fuck boy.
alive.
Another fuck boy.
And another
also,
fuck boy.
You know, one thing I want to tell guys about too is don't get butthurt. I'm telling them, don't get butthurt if you approach a group of girls and
they're not interested.
They're not interested in it. I'm not saying it doesn't mean that one of them might not be interested in you. You don't know the motive of why they're out there. Some girls have that friend that was broken up with and truly needs a girls' night out where she needs to get hit on.
Preach.
She needs to get her ego boosted a little bit, build up that confidence, and then at the end of the night, come back with her girls. That's okay. That's healthy. That's a good group of girlfriends right there.
Yep.
Don't take it to heart.
Yeah.
Do not take it to heart because that is sometimes the motive.
That's another thing that annoys me though, is like when guys like hit on girls or girls hit on guys, girls don't really necessarily get all that upset if the guy isn't interested.
See, this is a topic that I think we even talked about it, but it was after the podcast last week or the week before. Rejection.
Oh, God.
And they say, okay, so on every episode, I feel like the guys have said that girls take rejection terribly. And I'm not disagreeing. I'm not
either, but
I'm also going to say, like, guys are pretty shitty with handling rejection.
Yeah, I agree. Because you know what it turns into? She's a hoe anyway. She's a
That's
dumb
what I'm
bitch.
saying. Like,
you get insults.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
because girls will turn to something's wrong with me. What happened to me?
Right.
Am I
like,
ugly?
Like,
Am
I just
fat?
said no because I wanted to go home and go to bed.
Yeah, or it's something like that. But guys I genuinely feel, I'm sure they look at themselves for a little bit and probably get their, pride hurt. But it's always like, whatever. She wasn't that cold anyway.
Yeah, she wasn't that hot.
But you know what?
I wasn't that interested.
There's another girl right around the corner that's going to be thinking the opposite. So
yeah.
Just bounce back.
I just don't feel like you need to attack somebody because they rejected you.
Yeah.
And I will say that, like, I'm not going to speak for every girl because there's all different types of girls out there. But in my experience of friends and girls I've been around, when they're rejecting a guy, they don't tend to be bitchy about it. They're not saying like, you're fucking ugly and I would never fucking get with you.
Honestly, more sympathetic.
Like, it's more like, I really appreciate it. That is so nice of you.
Yeah,
like, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but
the only time like when I reject a guy and then he starts getting mad at me and saying terrible things to me.
That's what I'm saying. They are vicious. And
It's
I
adult.
agree. I think girls are more vicious than guys. I promise you, I agree with that because we're not the type that, you know, throws a punch and then gets a beer later. No, we're the type that voodoo dolls come out, like all the psycho shit comes
It'll
out.
be
But
6 years later, I'm still talking about you.
Well,
bitch.
yeah, but when it comes to rejecting a guy in that moment, I don't mean an ex, I don't mean somebody who's hurt you, but in that moment,
And
we are
see,
not cruel about it.
I think that's where the guys are coming from. I think their point is rejection long term from an ex or something like that.
Right.
I will agree. We take that poorly. We do. And not every girl, but in general, overall, I would say we do take it
because we're more of a sensitive bunch.
But in
we're
a
more
short-term
emotional.
rejection,
No.
y'all take the cake.
Like my stranger opinion to another stranger, it's not going to affect you or offend you. Like get over it. Don't be mean to me. Don't be mean to other people. Like if I hit on you and you said no, I'm just going to walk away kindly and be like, it was nice talking to you. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, well, your fade line is messed up or you're ugly or your shoes
No, I
don't
honestly
match.
might sit there and be like, shit, was I reaching for the stars or,
Yeah.
you know, what was my
I'm not
fault
gonna
in it?
attack you as a person.
If you're an ex and you did shitty things, you will get attacked and your dick
and
cut
that's
off.
where the crazy flag flies.
That
ladies.
is where the crazy / borderline psychoticness comes out. But when it is, like Cassie said, like a short-term rejection, like you were saying, we're just going to walk away and be like, well, shit, that was a fail. We might not do it again for a long time.
or just take a drink and bounce back and
Right. Or that. That's what I'm saying. But
Depends
it's
how
not.
horny you are, I guess.
You might bounce back real quick. Especially if you're using O.
Especially if you have Pure Romance products waiting at home. I swear we're plugging this
or
company.
it's in your purse.
Oh my God. But
Carry
no,
it
I
with
mean,
you.
I think that was a good conversation on double standards. And I know
There's
it,
just
it
so
comes
many to
from
cover.
So many
like the
stereotypes.
numbers, like your sex number.
Oh, we don't. Oh, God.
Oh, you know what? I am going to go back to that
going there.
because I do think that is one of the biggest double standards. Mallory almost dropped the mic, by the
Sorry,
way.
I have all this candy.
She was so
She brought
excited. She
snacks.
dropped the mic.
No, that is one of the, I would say the ultimate double standard is the difference between a player and a hoe.
Agreed.
I think that is such a double standard. And I think that guys will look at it as there are some guys that like to brag about their number and they like to brag about this is how many girls I've slept with. But the minute that a girl might beat that number or match you at that, I don't know, it's a little hoish. It's a little, why can't she have the same urgencies and tendencies as you?
Mm-hmm. She had opportunities, motherfucker.
She's
She took
building
'em.
her sexual maturity
She
just
took
as
'em.
you are.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
there
don't
is
know.
more of a risk for girls to have sex.
Agreed.
She just bitch took the risk 10 more times than you did. It's fine.
Well,
Don't get mad. She has better game than you.
I
True.
think that's what it comes down to.
I do too.
Are
I
you
think-
jealous?
Yeah. I don't know what it is because here's the thing. I know that there are times where I look at a guy and I see his number and, you know, pretty high up there and I'll be like,
I'm like
damn.
disgusted by it though. Like, I mean, it's fine.
I
do
think
you?
there's a limit. I mean,
There's a
There is.
limit, yeah.
There
Are
is.
you like fucking to the point where your legs are wobbly and you're not standing, or are you
do
to
you
the
have
point
a penis
where
still? Or?
Yeah.
right? Or are you to the point where it's like, no, you're just experienced. That's
Yeah.
all it is. At this
Like-
age, you have this number. That's experience.
I guess what irks me the most about the situation, like, it's not the number. Like, the number, it's just, it's a number. Yeah, it can be excessively high. But the thing that bugs me is, like, when a guy finds out how high a girl's number is, they'll get upset. Or if it's, like, lower, they'll be like, no way. There's no way you're, like, that low.
Oh, yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
no matter what, like, a guy is going to get applauded by people. Like, I've had sex with 20 girls.
How do you not know that the girl is walking out of the room and we're playing, you know, just had sex, blasting and blaring and high-fiving them? Their
Hell
girls
yeah.
are cheering them on. Why can't you cheer them on?
That's what I think that guys don't realize
That's
is that
not
like
fair.
if you get some, like they're all. I
It's a
honestly
win-win for
think-
everybody.
Here's a fun little fact: is that I think there's like
Yeah,
this,
wait, you lived with guys. What?
Oh, yeah. Cassie, background, has lived with 3 guys for 2 years. It's a different story.
It was a
coming
dark
from her.
time. No, I'm just kidding. It was great. Kind of. I honestly just think that. Okay, so the stigma is that guys hook up with girls and then they run to their homies and they're like, oh yeah, bro, like this and this happened. And they high five, congratulate each other. Hell yeah. Okay. And for girls, it's like, oh, I don't kiss and tell. Bull fucking shit. I would say it's the exact opposite. Guys aren't even talking about when they hook up with people. And if they do, it's sly under the, like, oh yeah, I smashed. End of conversation.
That's it.
Girls, I'm telling you right now.
We go full detail.
Let me give you a little insight to wine night. I'm telling you right now, I know exactly what you fucking did to my friend.
I know how
whether
pink
it was
the tip
good,
of that dick is.
Whether it was good, bad, or
I know
ugly.
how many veins you have. Like,
I know all of it. I know what your fucking balls smell like.
it's like
I
a
know
Wikipedia for your dick.
It is
I
because
know
we
all of
ask
it.
those detailed questions. Oh my god, the number of times where one of my friends will smash or one of Driss's friends, and it's so funny because when I tell him the story, I mean, you time it, it's about a 10-minute conversation, and his point of view is, yeah, it was good. He'd probably hit again. Okay, but like, what was it? She have a magnetized pussy? Like, did it smell like rainbows and butterflies? Like, what's going on with
Licorice, cherries.
Right. Like, what is it? What is it? And it's
I think it's because we're so detail oriented. Like, I really need to know. When you tell me, yes, it was good, I don't give a fuck. I want to know what was good.
Did he tear your
how
vagina
good.
walls good? Or were you like grabbing onto sheets good?
Was he a 2-bus thrust? Are y'all going all night long? Like, I need to know.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you right now, we're all also living vicariously and taking notes. Or comparing stories to say like, oh, I've had that. Really? Okay, so it's normal.
Yeah.
Yes, it's normal.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's normal.
And it is very different because girls are much more, detail oriented.
Well, why do you think that they have pure romance parties for women, but they have a men's section of the catalog? How many men do you think are hosting pure romance parties? It ain't fucking happening.
It's not happening. And it just, people don't go into that much detail, or men don't go into that much detail. But like I said, at the end of the day, numbers, it is not a numbers game. No. I am sorry, it's not, because you could still have slept with three people that you've been in a relationship with, and be fucking sexually vicarious. Like, you could be the most experienced sexual being because you tried any toy and anything, any position in any room, in any spot, whatever, and that's fine. And you can still say, oh, my number was 3. They were all my boyfriends. Great. Somebody could have, a hit it and quit it kind of thing, one night stand all the time, and still be the worst person to sleep with.
Agreed.
Why is no one coming back to you?
That's what I'm saying.
Why is nobody coming back to you?
If you only had sex with 3 people, then I feel like you're doing something right.
Right.
They're
If
coming
you're
back.
having sex with 75 people, I'm thinking 75 people didn't want any more.
And which one of the 75 people above what bar? What bar? What
Right.
bar are they passing? I'm sorry.
And like, are you ever having sober sex? That's another question.
Yeah. Because beer goggles are real.
Sober sex changes everything.
Oh, it changes
It does.
everything.
It does. I mean, there are those
goes
drunken
back-
hookups where you crave to have again.
And honestly, though, I think if you start having sober sex with someone, it goes back to the relationship and labels.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah. How often are you guys consciously having sex?
I would say if you're having sober sex, you're toggling in the lines of questionables.
Yeah.
You're not just hookups. I'm not
Because-
saying you can't just hook up with someone sober and during the day, but I'm saying like
But it's more serious.
you've crossed a line to another territory.
I
It's
agree.
still a very gray area, but
I agree. That in general, that I think stage of I wouldn't even say relationship, but whatever you're getting into, it is very gray.
whatever you're calling it.
Whatever you're calling it now. But no, kind of going into the sex talk into something that's a lot
On the flip side,
the flip side. It's,
Little
it's
more
a heavier
serious,
topic.
yeah.
It's very 2017.
we should have
was
saved
full
the
of-
good shit and then said this first because
We
I feel like I
should've.
don't
Oh
wanna,
shit! Yeah, it is.
I don't want to
well,
go
you know
out on
what?
like a dun dun dun.
We'll end it on some positive note. You know
We'll
what I
talk
mean?
more about
we'll talk
dicks.
more about dicks in a good way. But no, 2017, undeniably was a very, very, hard time for. I mean, here's an example. Time Magazine Person of the Year were the Silence Breakers, and it was all the men and women who, were sexually harassed.
I have something to say about the Time magazine thing.
I've never
Continue
seen
on,
it, but
Do you think it's bullshit that I'm just going to say it? Donald Trump was the second
That's
person
exactly
of the
what I was
year?
gonna say.
The fact that the Silence Breakers,
so
the
I
people
call
who
Time
were-
magazine out for being fucking hypocritical as hell.
I do too. I don't care what happens if we're getting sued. I'm just saying I think that is such bullshit. That is such bullshit.
You're going to make such a bold statement and have these empowering men and women telling their stories, whether you buy into it or not. And then you're going to have him as fucking runner up.
I don't even care.
Regardless
Take
of your
aside-
political views.
Right. Take
I'm just
aside
saying.
the presidency. I don't even care. You vote for him. You do whatever. That's your opinion. You're probably more educated in politics than I am. So good for you. But I'm just saying, I do not understand that is a slap in the fucking face. That is a slap in the fucking face.
If I was on the cover, I would tell them to take me off.
I wouldn't doubt that. I'd support that. So going back, I mean, that is, so we're not going to talk about each case, you know, what happened and everything, but, you know, the guys have been talking about sexual harassment, and I was kind of the girl that was talking about it on our side of our point of view. So I kind of want to ask you, with these political figures and these actors and actresses, these producers, and just anything in general in pop culture, what are your opinions on it? And when I say opinions, I want to know.
It's not the time to bounce your tits, Cassie.
Cassie is bouncing her tits.
Sorry, I'm excited.
It's symbolic. It's symbolic. But
I can touch them.
Are you harassing yourself?
During this time, I want to know, do you guys think, and this is a big question that I want to ask you, and there's no, I promise you, no right or wrong answer, but I personally feel like everything needs to be, do you think as a society, we are much more sensitive to these things?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So with it coming out, we're taking it more seriously, because to be honest, cases from fucking 68, 69, 1968, 1969, oh my God, how many years ago was that?
Here's the thing. There's
50 years
always,
ago?
there's a statute of limitations.
Exactly.
And if something happened that long ago, I think it's completely fine that you're coming out, but I don't think that the other person should be targeted for that specific case unless it's come up like 6 months ago.
Well, the statute, so legally nothing's happening to them, but Hollywood is taking the approach of taking down their shows or writing them off of scripts. That's what Hollywood's doing. So,
well, then that's their business to do it.
That is, and that's what I'm saying is, you're right. I think you brought up the best point is the statute of limitations, but legally nothing's actually happening.
Bill Cosby, when
Bing Crosby,
Sidney
Bill Cosby,
Bill Crosby.
one of the frickin' Crosbys.
His name is Cosby. No, Mallory. No.
Dang it. Oh, fuck me.
But no, Bill Cosby.
She made it this long.
I did.
She
But,
just fucked up.
you know, let me bring up Bill Cosby and others, because Bill Cosby drugged these women to take advantage of them. Most of what's coming up, whether it's Harvey Weinstein, Matt Lauer, all these people, they coerced people. So you know what I mean? That there is a difference. There is a difference.
Point I wanted to make.
I think his allegations, I am not, if you were raped, that is severe. That is very bad. I don't care how many years ago it happened.
Yeah.
I don't think it's easy to talk about.
Oh, no.
You know, but
it's like also a different situation.
Right. So getting drugged is very different than somebody, you know, hey, I can make or break your career if you sleep with me or let me
because
watch
you know what,
while I'm
you know what the
walking
difference in that situation is.
You have no respect
whether
for
it was
like,
shitty or not. You had a choice.
Yeah.
And I'm not condoning that they should have ever coerced you that way or given you the ultimatum. I think that's fucked up. I think it's wrong. It gives men and even women no right to do something like that.
But it gives that person the
at the
upper
same
hand,
time, like if you decided,
if
you decided, okay, I'm going to suck your dick,
then
I'm telling you now, like you made that choice. Did you make it because you wanted to save your career and you wanted to keep, you know, your livelihood? Yes. And that is a tough choice to make, but
you can't go back on that.
To come out 12 years later and say, well, you know what? And like, I think it's okay to come out and say it because I think it's okay to say like that was wrong.
Right.
And that shouldn't have happened. But like at that point, like you did make a choice.
Right. And I also think, in those situations, this is just hypothetically thinking, like if you want to go for a higher position, and it's that person, like you can
Slipping your way up the hierarchy.
Yeah, you can slip your way up, which, I mean, if that's you, go for it, but don't sit there and call them out. Like you said, it was your decision, but you can also, if you talk about it, you should also be ruining your career too, because you're the one that made that decision to get on there. You should have more respect for yourself and know that you're self-worth to get that job without going down on your knees.
I wouldn't say even argue you on that, but I might compare it in this sense. I think it's okay to call somebody out because I think sometimes when somebody does stand up, you might get that courage to stand up and say, no, that did happen to me. What I don't condone is you comparing yourself to a rape victim.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I will say, you know, you were sexually harassed. You can be sexually harassed, but can you go as far to be like, I am the same victim as somebody who was drugged and raped?
But my question to you is, if he says, if you want this position or you want this role in this film, get down on your knee and suck my dick. Are you still technically, if you do it, would you still think that you're going to be sexually harassed if you go for it? Because you, like you said, you have that final ultimatum if you want to do it or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like you were a victim of sexual harassment. I agree with that statement. But how long are you going to be a victim to the other than the fact that are you going to be like, I'm not going to compare myself to someone who got raped?
I think it's all about the comparisons. You got to cut that shit.
Right. Yeah. Like you might say like, I made a terrible mistake. He is a disgusting man. For him to ask me that, I don't respect him. Yeah. And honestly, that was a mistake I made. I'm never going to make it again.
Yep.
That's okay to say. That's fine. But when you say like, oh, God, you were drugged and raped by Bill Cosby. Oh my gosh, I had to suck his dick to get this far. And
that's not the same.
That's a difference.
I don't feel bad for people that did that. Like, if a guy came up to you, said, suck my dick for this, and you did, I don't feel bad for you.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate in that because I sort of agree with you, but it's also the people that are coming out and saying that are from a different era. So like women having the ability to get positions in a company or in a film or whatever it may be, it just wasn't as likely. It wasn't a given. It wasn't just going to happen. Like they really had to work for it. And unfortunately,
that was the only way.
Yeah,
and
I didn't even
sometimes,
think of
especially
that.
in the beginning, like that's really the only way it was going to happen. And that is so fucked up that would even be the situation. But like, it's easy for us, and I'm with you on that, to say like, there's no way. Like if you came to me and said, you can have this job if you suck my dick, I'm going to say, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to find a different job.
Right.
But if it wasn't as easy because we know that like that may be a specific situation for us, but then we move on and it won't be the case. They didn't have that opportunity. It would be the same thing the next place they went.
Yeah.
So I still don't think you can compare yourself to a rape victim or something of the sort, but I also have, sort of an understanding to say that it was a different time.
It was. And I didn't even think about that in the situation. Like, I'm just thinking of like, it's now 2017. Women have had rights for so long. And I honestly think that I'm really glad that they're taking the subject more seriously within
I think so too.
Oh,
everything.
Yeah, I agree.
I just lost my train of thought. Crap.
We have that happen on here.
But I also think that sometimes guys are now feeling threatened by women because we are breaking that glass ceiling too.
Yep.
And in order for them to keep control of the situation, always have that upper hand in relationships and jobs and everything, they need to do something and have something on that woman so they can't get ahead of them.
I think even some of our friends have said, like, in the job setting, like, I'm not willing to say certain things or do certain things that I wouldn't consider to be inappropriate in the face of all this stuff coming out, because it's like, if I make an inappropriate joke, not directed at anybody, not involving anybody, in a setting of, close coworker friends or whatever it may be, it can be taken the wrong way.
Yeah,
so I feel like guys are having to be very cognizant of like exactly what they're saying and what they're doing.
But it also comes down to the girl too, like how many of us, I guarantee you, 3 of us being women, there has probably been some sexual, not even sexual, like very vulgar comment, but some sort of maybe not appropriate comment been made to us that just goes over your head.
I just think that, I think it comes down to, we are being so sensitive now, and there's rights and laws and regulations for everything now.
Yep.
And everybody,
and to what extent?
and like the protected classes, it always comes down to that. And honestly, if it's not fully on directed towards you, or it's just like a statement, I would not feel harassed by it. I would not feel awkward about it. I would probably think back, like, did he really just say that? Like, you're in a work setting, or you're in this setting where you don't know a lot of people. But like, it's not directed towards you. It's just, stop trying to make everything about you in a way. That was really rude of me to say it that way, but it wasn't.
No, it's just a different perspective, because I think what you're saying is that's okay what you're saying. I think it's to what extent are they harassing you? Because you can't tell me, I'm sorry, I've heard enough, locker room banter come from women, but they're not going to get accused right away.
No.
Because, men are going to be like, well, no, she's not jumping on me and throwing herself at me. She made a comment. Now, if it makes you uncomfortable, I think you should take the stance to tell them, hey, I didn't like you making that comment. I'm not going to go to HR and report this. I'm not going to, but hey, just understand, I don't feel comfortable with you saying that.
Honestly, so it wasn't even like a sexual harassment towards me. It was just like a statement. So I was flying to Dallas a couple weeks ago, and a gentleman sat next to me. So it was like the 3-seater. I was by the window. He was in the middle, and his son was on the other side. And he was an older gentleman. He starts talking to me, and I kind of start brushing him off because I was listening to music. And he looks at me, and he kind of gets a little closer, and he's like, do you feel awkward of me sitting right here next to you because of everything's going on in the news? That, if he would have said like something else, that is what kind of like triggered me to make me feel more uncomfortable than a sexual thing coming at me.
Yeah, because it's like almost like addressing the wrong white elephant.
Right. Like, it's kind of like, should I be?
Yeah,
yeah.
And like I was just like really uncomfortable, and like me being in the window, like there's no easy escape on a plane. Like if something did happen, but it's just like if you would have like looked at my boobs, that's not sexual harassment. That's me because my boobs are out. Like,
see, and I think it comes back to that too. And I think we talked about this previously, probably after a podcast. But I mean, like if you're wearing your boobs out, I'm not saying you're asking someone to come up and grab your tits or to, you know, molest you in any way. I'm not saying that at all, but you are putting them out there. I'm not saying that they have any right to make a sexual comment or a gesture or insinuate that you would do anything just because you have your boobs out. But at the same time, like if you truly didn't want anybody to look at them, you wouldn't wear them out.
Yeah. I don't think a pencil skirt is wrong to wear at work. I don't think wearing, you know, some people wear tight.
Well, like high school.
How low are you buttoning your shirt where it's like, no, you
there's
can
a difference
show,
between I'm a female and I have feminine qualities such as boobs.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you're a curvier individual.
Right. Versus I'm going to unbutton my shirt all the way down to the last two and hope nobody says
because
anything.
we're not, and nobody take this wrong. We're not saying, oh, women are, you know, bringing this upon them. I'm not saying that, but we have been around enough women where no, you did not dress that way because you think you look presentable. You dress that way because you are waiting for that man to come up to you.
Yeah,
exactly.
And the problem comes from when you're not getting it from the right one.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm still not saying
that
I don't want it to come across that we're like, women haters. No, but it's just kind of like, you just have to be aware. You have to be aware. And you can't be hypersensitive if you're also putting out, you know, a certain vibe.
And you know what, honestly, like also I hear, like I honestly, like I know it's important to keep up with the news, but with everything going on just about the negativity, I kind of turn it off. But I've started noticing too, like them talking about like high school students, how they can't wear, like girls can't wear this, they can't wear that.
Oh my God, that is so fucking ridiculous to me.
I'm sorry. The teachers, like, if a girl is wearing a tank top and her boobs are out, like, how is a shoulder going to turn you on? I know people have weird fetishes and stuff, but you see the cheerleaders.
We can't, we're showing our
but
ankles.
You see cheerleaders.
My nose is out. Somebody's fucking triggered.
Right. Like, I'm wearing sandals. People have feet fetishes, but then I went to, and I did a career fair. And it was on a Friday, and so it was game day. Those cheerleaders were wearing, their skirts were not for dress code, but you see girls wearing shorts.
Yep.
And if they're not down to their fingertips, they get sent home. And now girls are wearing, I'm sorry, but if it's in the summer, do not have your freaking heat on, and then girls like wouldn't have to wear tank tops.
Oh my God. I came from a high school. We didn't even have air conditioning, and we still don't have it. And I graduated, 9 years ago? Exactly.
Because we're old as hell. Is that what you're trying to say?
We are kind of old right now. But no, I mean, we literally did not have air conditioning, and I was like, I mean, sure, I'll wear a t-shirt, but now I'm getting self-conscious of my fucking pit stains.
Let me tell you a story about a fun little story, and this was back when we were in middle school, so that's like ages ago. But my mom threw a fucking rant and went up to the principal's office. Okay, so we weren't allowed to wear spaghetti strap tank tops, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, yeah.
So, which I think is fucking stupid. Like, who's getting a boner over his shoulder? You need to figure yourself out. And let's be honest, in middle school, they're getting boners over everything.
Like, they could be staring at a pencil and they'll
throw
get
a fucking
boner.
pizza roll at their forehead and it's an instant boner. Right. I don't know. Anyway, so I was wearing like a jacket, like a zip up or like a blazer, something like that, with a tank top underneath, which was perfectly fine, met the dress code. So I go to buy my lunch, and because they're so afraid of everyone stealing, we aren't allowed to wear jackets in the lunch line. So I look at the lunch lady and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of in a pickle, like wearing a jacket, can't buy my lunch, also wearing a spaghetti strap tank top underneath. Can I just take it off, go through the lunch line and put it back on? She told me no. So I'm like, okay, well, how do you expect me to then get my lunch?
Yeah.
Right.
And she was like, well, I guess you're out of luck. And I was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, luckily, I think my friends like ended up going and buying my lunch for me, whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I just happened to go home and tell my mom. And like, I wasn't in a full on rage about it because I was, in 7th, 8th grade. I didn't really give a fuck. But my mom was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, and so she posed this like huge debate about it. And like, my principal was all like, oh, I'm so sorry. But it's just that kind of thing where it's like, seriously, I couldn't walk 30 seconds through a lunch line to get my lunch that I'm paying
you had
for
to take off your jacket.
I had to wear a spaghetti strap tank top. It's not like I was like, I mean, it was like a normal tank. I was in 7th grade. Why are you sexualizing me?
Right.
That's what I
like
need to
today.
know.
Like a student is sitting in his desk. I mean, we had that one teacher in high school that like would come over and talk to us and just look down our shirt. That's something completely different.
I had a few instances of that.
Well, but that's I mean, that is different. That's why I believe with any sort of sexual harassment case, it has to be case by case.
Yeah.
That's all it has to be. I think that every situation is different. I think that every person, even every individual is different, because there are some women that are completely okay being, their ass being the topic of conversation in the break room.
They might love it.
And there are some women who are like, I can't even go into the break room because I'm so nervous that if I bend over to grab something from the bottom shelf of the fridge, God only knows, what's going to happen. So I also believe those women shouldn't have to feel like that.
Yep.
I hope they don't feel like that.
Oh, yeah.
But that might be maybe how you dress. And regardless, you could still wear black slacks and you might just have a great ass that still shows through them, and that's okay. But there's just a difference, and everything has limitations. And I don't think that locker room banter is okay. I'm not saying that. But I also think it depends on who you are, aka if you're the fucking president of the United States and you're going to say that.
True.
I'm just saying the position you hold is a lot different too. It's how you carry yourself in public. So that's how I kind of feel about the whole sexual harassment and double standard thing.
It's a real big clusterfuck, if we're being honest.
And
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
It's going to get so worse.
Well, there's also, on top of sexual harassment, is pedophilia. Some of the shit that's coming off about that. So, Kevin Spacey,
I didn't hear about that.
So they basically are writing him off of House of Cards, because of an allegation. Now the boys, I don't exactly know how old he is now, but I think in his 20s, but it was an incident that happened, years and years ago. And I always say this, it's so funny, but have you guys ever seen American Beauty? With Kevin Spacey, the movie American Beauty? He has the hots for his daughter's friend, and she's obviously a minor, and it's just so funny to think about a movie like that and the character that he played.
Well, apparently he played, my coworkers are talking about it, I don't remember the name of the film, but he did play in another movie where he was a pedophile in the movie. Like, he played a pedophile. Oh, yeah. And so it's kind of like, people are like, oh, fuck.
Just stop making movies of people coming off as pedophiles, and then maybe society will stop.
But you'd probably watch it. I'd watch it.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch it
too.
But that's what sells.
Part.
I mean, it all goes back to sex sells, whether it's appropriate or not.
Well, let's just say, for everybody listening, it's in the movies. It's not real life. So stop making it.
I hope none of our listeners are pedophiles. I hope not.
Oh my God.
Do I have a sexy voice for you?
Okay, well, you're also not a child.
And do I have a sexy voice for you?
That's creepy.
That's
no, but
up.
I mean, despite all this, all I'm saying is, going back to the statute of limitations, legally, no, things aren't happening to them. But I think Hollywood is taking a stance. I mean, yeah, they're publicly shaming them. They're taking a stance on it.
I think that's fine, because it's just like NFL players or like other players saying that, they've done some things and you're going to let that slide. But if somebody else, like in real life, does something, they're not going to let that slide. Yeah. Which I think Hollywood is doing a perfectly fine job of removing them and stuff. Just to say that it's not okay to do that.
Well, what's so funny, though? They did take the Cosby Show off the air for a little bit, but it's actually back on now, because I was the other day just flipping through the guide and I'm like, I thought this shit wasn't allowed to be shown anymore, but it is different. So, but anyway, so I think we did kind of, go a long time with this segment, but
we do like to ramble.
We do.
But just take note that we do not think that sexual harassment and anything is okay.
No. We're just, our opinions are not condoning what men or women are doing.
Never.
No.
So just make sure that you know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Before you come haunting us.
Save your ass.
Watch your ass.
Save your butt.
No, I want to thank both Cassie and Mallory for being on the show, and this was kind of the girls' takeover.
Yes,
it was
queens.
kind of everything that we talked about this season that just is coming from a girl's perspective, whether it's labels and relationships, double standards, our views on dildos,
sex cream,
everything. But we are actually having, like Cassie said, 2 more pure romance parties in the next couple months.
What you guys should do? If you enjoyed this ladies' takeover, you should let us know. We might be able to make it happen again.
We might.
And by make it happen, I mean, Driss, we're going to make it happen.
It's going to happen.
And maybe we'll actually use our products and talk about it.
Yeah,
we might. We actually might do a...
Some of us might get lucky.
If you really want us to.
We can actually talk bedroom talk.
No, we
could.
can't. No,
We could
can't.
do a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Not locker room talk, but
Bedroom talk is better than
Talk
locker
from the
room.
boudoir.
we can do a menage a trois.
Oh my god.
No, the fuck we can't.
No, I would never.
We are drinking that right
We
now,
are.
though.
It's really good
Some
wine.
Great
Pinot
wine.
Grigio Menage a Trois. No, we're not cutting the check on it, but we are promoting it. We're just saying. But
Just saying.
thank you, Mallory and Cassie, for being on the show.
Anytime.
You guys,
Sumie for leading us.
you're welcome. That's what I'm here for. Because, sometimes Pussy Power needs to unite because I am surrounded by so much testosterone
We
that
all
it drives
are.
me crazy.
It's stupid.
Drives me crazy.
Power to the pussy.
Power to the pussy.
Power to the motherfucking pussy.
Thank